Ladies and gentlemen, life in exile brings many challenges, whether social, economical, or cultural. We adults can cope with them, some better than others, but they still have a choice to make. We can return home or choose another country to live, and if we feel that our expectations are not being met in a particular locations. But what about the children? They don't have such a choice. It's the parents who are making the decision for them. If they are responsible parents, they will at least try to talk to their children about what they can expect. They make them understand that they will have to change their environment, leave their family and friends. And this is very commendable. However, in the course of those conversations, they often forget another extremely important aspect, preparing the child for the fact that from the moment they arrive to a new country, they are likely to be stigmatized as a stranger, as a foreigner, as the other. And at this point, the child's previously existing stability and security falls apart. And now let's look at the situation of a child born into a mixed family. What is when one of the parents, an immigrant, decides to stay in a new country in order to create a bicultural family? The child born and raised as such a family will not be able to avoid being treated as the other, as he or she will be stigmatized as a member of national minority. This often leads to resentment, rejection, and defiance of the situation he does not understand because the child has not made the decision. The child wants just to be treated in the same way as his or her peers in the schoolyard, on the sport team. And often this is not the case. Of course, the extent of which the child can cope with these challenges depends on the support of the family. The education institution also has a major role to play here. Today, as a teacher with experience of working with migrant and bicultural children, I would like to share my thoughts on this matter, to point out the difficulties we face in our work as educators, but also to highlight the successes we have had in this area. Years of work have confirmed my conviction that the school outside the home country fundamentally helps the child to overcome the most difficult period of acculturation in the new immigrant environment, and it also plays an extremely important role in sorting out any existential doubts the child may have, and above all influences the development of his or her identity in the broadest sense. Finally, these activities contribute to a state of related psychological stability for the young person, also by discovering the positive aspect of the situation. At this point, we should review the definition of identity. The process of identity development is based on the understanding of one's own biography, one's own conception of life, one's self-knowledge, one's surroundings, one's perception of the world, and where he or she fits into it. The child situating him or herself in the world begins to consciously and responsibly create his or her own identity as a set of perceived self-characteristics. The child is able to understand and evaluate himself, to take a favorable attitude towards different situations, conditions, and groups. The concept of identity is used not just to describe an individual sense of self, but also to emphasize the individual uniqueness, distinctiveness, integrity, and persistence, since identity is formed both by comparing oneself to others. It's important in situation of cultural diversity. On the one hand, a person has a sense of familiarity, being oneself, of being at home, and on the other hand, he or she experiences strangeness and others, being in constant confrontation with the people and group, their culture, tradition, lifestyles. This is the definition. Thus, the child forms his or her identity in the process of education, self-education, and participation in social life through self-indefinition by comparing oneself to others. The acquisition of specific cultural components, I could call them identity puzzle, occurs primarily through cultural transmission in the family, in the community, and then at school, where an institutional setting on the basis of accept value, the child can expand and acquire new competences. It should be noted that bicultural or multicultural children are in a more complicated situation. Their set of identity puzzles is further enriched depending on the specific circumstances by an additional culture and nationality component, either acquired from a parent or resulting from living in exile. Therefore, the process of integration of the above-mentioned identity puzzles should be done in such a way that the child recognizes them as a manifestation of his or her uniqueness and not as being different in a negative sense. As I have already pointed out on this subject, there is much that school can do. After all, the school, as an educational institution with a primary task of education and nurturing, is concerned with sharpening children's attitudes, skills, and components, so that they can better understand themselves and the world, and so that they can consciously and actively participate in their social and economic dealings. Here I include both the child home school, where he or she receives compulsory education, and the supplementary school, where he or she receives the education program of the home country. Ideally, these two schools should be able to work together. However, this doesn't happen. I point this out as a teacher outside the Hungarian, British, or international education system. The Polish school in Budapest, of which I represent, reports directly to the Ministry of Education and Science in Poland, and more precisely, in part of a network of Polish schools operating in more than 40 countries around the world, which are coordinating by the Center for the Development of Polish Education Abroad, based in Warsaw. The largest schools are in Paris, Brussels, or Athens. In the current school year, more than 17,000 students are studying in Polish schools hosted by Polish ministry. Almost 600 teachers work in them. In my school in Budapest, we have 130 pupils. The main task of the Polish schools under the Ministry of Education is to implement the curriculum of Polish public schools in the system of supplementary education in Polish language, history and geography, which should help our students to seamlessly integrate into the Polish education system after their eventual return to the country. In this way, the ministry is looking after the children of Polish migrants. At the same time, in order to meet the needs of civilization and taking into account the fact that our schools operate in a bicultural environment, the Polish school, in addition to its task related to the spread of the Polish language and culture and the preservation of the sense of national identity of migrant children, has broadened it to profile of its activities and has begun to focus its attention also on developing the competencies of professional bilingualism of our students and emphasizing the value of biculturalism. It was recognized that the process of identity development of a modern Polish child living in migration condition or born in a mixed family abroad should be well balanced and fully integrated, both in terms of Polish identity components and those with which he or she comes into daily contact, as well as in terms of the country of residence. The path to this goal is not an easy one. We can even say that it's long, rough, and full of obstacles. Education in our school takes 12 years. 8 years of primary school and 4 years of secondary school. When the initial enthusiasm of child's enrollment subsides and there is a moment of fatigue, both of the part of the parents who sometimes have to bring the child from distant part of the city or even from the province, and on the part of the child who after 7 hours of lessons at his or her home school has to spend more hours at our school, doubts are expressed and the question arises, is it worth it? And this is one of the first challenge for the teacher and the school as a whole. First of all, we have to prepare an educational program that will make the children overcome their tiredness as soon as they cross the entrance of our school. Teachers must show great empathy, understanding, and flexibility. The lessons must be varied using both traditional and modern teaching methods to fully meet the needs of the children in this area, and above all, to correspond to the perceptual and intellectual ability of the child in the afternoon hours. And note, this is effective. The children leave the classes happy, and when they are satisfied, parents know that it's worth investing their time in sending their child to a Polish school. Besides, it's a priority for our entire teaching team to create such a pleasure working atmosphere that both children and parents want to visit our school. They weren't forced to, but they came willingly anyway. Our school becomes for them a substitute of Poland, a second Polish home. Here the children learn about Polish traditions, celebrate national and religious holidays, have a chance to meet Polish artists, borrow the Polish books. In order to create the right atmosphere, we also focus on good relation between students, teachers, parents, and management. The school is based on democratic principles, and parents are treated as so hosts who share the responsibility for the school. It's not only the child who should feel comfortable in our school, but also the parents and grandparents. We should form a single educational community guided by the well-being of our children and the assumption based on the development of Polish identity and education in biculturalism. The fact that children of the next generation are enrolled in the school because the parents have decided that they can't not imagine that their childhood without a Polish school is proof that we are succeeding. I consider this is to be a great success for our institution. Once the first obstacle due to exhaustion and doubt has been overcome, another one appears. The issue that concern the attitude of the family and the local environment, including the home school, towards the matter of a child attending a Polish school. This is a more complex and multi-layered issue. There are still cases when the local family, parents, uncles, in the presence of the child, speak negatively about sending the child to Polish school, or in general about raising a child in biculturalism, treating it as an unnecessary burden borne by the child. I also remember a time when even one parent would object to sending a child to school. These days, we no longer encounter such situation unless there is a family breakup, in which case there are indeed consequences in the form of a serious decision, even a refusal to send the child to our school, which is seen as a way of getting back to the other partner. We notice that in such cases the child's voice is not taken into account at all. Then we try to talk to both the parents and child about the advantages of attending our school and being educated in a bicultural environment. But the result of these talks are sometimes varied. And here I would like to mention another important issue. In the process of forming the Polish component of Polishness in bicultural children and preserving the national identity of Polish children, as we constantly remind the parents, it's extremely important to create a general good atmosphere around the school. In the family home, one should speak positively about both of the countries from which the child comes from, avoiding comparing or emphasizing the advantages of only one of them. Doing so can lead to the child developing a negative attitude towards one of the countries, and it can lead to the rejection of bicultural education. At a certain stage of a child's development, another trait emerges, is the fear of being excluded from the peer group, from example, from the home school. In the process of developing his or her identity, a young person discovers, as I said earlier, that he or she is different because he or she is involved with component of Polishness. And here we are faced with another challenge that requires the cooperation with parents at our school. In this case, the child's situation is determined by various unforeseeable factors. The child's relationship with the parents, with his personality traits, and his position in his peer group. The school treats this challenge as one of the most priorities. Our activities are aimed to helping students to understand that their adoption of a component of Polish culture is what makes them unique and valuable and expands their cognitive, intellectual and social skills. This is a treasure that destiny has given them, and they should not waste it because it can become their key to success in the future if it's properly used. Of course, words alone are not enough. Action are the matter. That is why we try to involve our students in various projects in which, by carrying out specific activities, they realize that value that they have, how they can use them, and how valuable the competences and skills they have acquired are. Among several such projects, I would like to mention the last three, which have been spectacularly successful. First, as young translators, as a part of the first edition of the project, a group of our 12 bilingual students translated a book written by the Polish writer Anna Onichimowska into Hungarian. The work was carried out under the supervision of professional translator and then published by Typotext Publishing House and is available in all bookshops in Hungary. The promotion of the book took place in 2019 at the Budapest International Book Festival. And then in Poland, in a Festival of Children's and Youth Literature in Rabka-Zdrój. This was the first part of this project. The last, what I think is really important as well, is that our students translated 2 films, The Magic Tree and The Coachman's Daughter, into Hungarian. And this film was broadcasted during the Autumn of Polish Film in Budapest, the event organized by the Polish Institute. Another important project was the creation of 2 tourist and educational guidebooks. Poland through the eyes of a child and Hungary through the eyes of a child. By children under the supervision of the parents and their publishing in a beautiful graphic design. Wow, thanks. Too much. This unique bilingual publishing, which presents the most interesting and beautiful place in Poland and Hungary from a child's perspective, has received great feedback from the public. The author of the guides were particularly pleased to receive prize from the President of the Republic of Poland and wife of President, Agata Kornhaus-Duda, who personally congratulated the students during a meeting in our school. And a copy of the guide was also presented to the First Lady of Hungary, Anita Herceg. And the last project I would like to talk about is live paintings, playing with Polish paintings. Within the framework of this extraordinary project, the students, parents, and the teachers of the Polish school took part in a photo session with the photographer Sylwia Czuma, where they created live paintings based of portraits of famous Polish painters such as Wyspiański, Malczewski, Witkacy, and the works were exhibited in a Polish institute and in several Polish institutions in Hungary, in Keszthely, Kaposvár, in Szeged, and in March 22, the exhibition was also shown in Veszprém as a part of the event Veszprém European Capital of Culture 2023. Participation in projects such as the ones I had described awoke the pride of our students, influenced the development of their sense of value, and most importantly, created an awareness of a positive image of biculturalism. This is because the participants of this project becomes the ambassadors of Polishness in Hungary. They actively participate in the promotion of Polish culture. They begin to be perceived as experts in Polish language, history, and culture, as I said. Isn't it a remarkable achievement when, as a high school students, you suggest to your Hungarian classmates that they should read a book that you have translated, and they can find it in the local bookstore? Or when you invite your friends to the cinema to see a film which you have translated. Ladies and gentlemen, these feelings are indescribable. Joy, proud, but most importantly for us as educators, at this moment these children fully accept their differences, which they are beginning to see as a great advantage and not as an obstacle in their lives. Thus, they grow into adults convinced of their uniqueness and aware of a full value of their identity. And this is our greatest success of a Polish educational institution abroad. In conclusion, I would like to point out with full responsibility that the role of the school in the development of a bicultural child identity is fundamental. Of course, the best results in this area are achieved in full cooperation with parents. Thank you for your attention.